Welcome back to the Midnight Narrator, where the quiet of everyday life can mask terrifying secrets and the bonds of family are tested by unseen forces. Tonight, we explore a chilling tale of a concerned mother, a mysterious neighbor, and a series of unsettling events that culminate in a night of violence and shocking revelations. Prepare to confront a reality where the lines between protector and predator blur, and the truth lies hidden just across the hall. Join me as we unravel the haunting story of the watcher across the hall. Turn down the lights, listen closely, and prepare to question the motives of those closest to you. The problems began when a kind woman moved into the unit across the hall. Ms. Moreau, she encouraged my mother and me to call her Estelle, was in her late 60s and a retired therapist. The day we met, she invited us for lentil soup. My mother commented that Estelle was a rare gem, and that such neighborliness is uncommon these days. As I ate the soup, Estelle mentioned her upcoming trip to Vienna. My mother jokingly suggested she visit the Sigmund Freud Museum for inspiration. "Don't you mean the Spanish writing school?" Estelle replied with a chuckle. I didn't quite understand the joke. After the meal, Estelle cleared the dishes. I excused myself to use the restroom but mistakenly opened the adjacent door. That's how I encountered Cosmo. Cosmo is a fluffy Bichon Frise. He ran at me making small, excited yaps. Fortunately, my mother reacted quickly. She had volunteered at an animal shelter for years and had a natural affinity for animals. While she calmed Cosmo, I ate a slice of apple pie. My mother had always encouraged me to engage in conversation, so I asked Estelle about a portrait on the wall. Her eyes welled up. I asked my mother if I'd said something wrong, but Estelle reassured me. The portrait was of her son, who had passed away years ago. Like Estelle, he was kind-looking, but he had dark hair, not gray. My mother confided in Estelle about my episodes of disorientation and intense headaches. Because these episodes occurred regularly, I hadn't been able to move out after finishing my studies. My mother explained that I contributed to the household expenses by working part-time at a nearby bakery, owned by a friendly man named Mr. Dubois. He was understanding about my needing time off when I wasn't feeling well. I knew I was fortunate to have my mother. She always took care of me during these times. After Estelle shared about her son, she was quiet for a while. To comfort her, I said, "Don't be sad. I can tell how much Cosmo cares for you. Your son was lucky to have you as a mother." Estelle gave me another slice of pie. "One more thing," she said as she walked us to the door. "Please don't mention Cosmo to anyone." The building manager, Mr. Bellwether, was pleasant, but had a strict "no pets" policy. My mother assured Estelle her secret was safe with us. Mr. Bellwether sometimes stayed in the unit below ours. He was a consultant but owned a larger property outside the city, only staying in the building when he had early meetings. My mother said this was good because having someone moving around below would worsen my headaches. Mr. Bellwether also allowed us flexibility with rent payments when we were struggling financially. In January, Mr. Bellwether passed away unexpectedly. This saddened me, as he'd always left us small gifts and a kind note during the holidays. My mother told me his nephew, also named Mr. Bellwether, had inherited the building and hoped things wouldn't change. The day the moving trucks arrived, my mother and Estelle looked anxious. The new Mr. Bellwether intended to live in the downstairs unit permanently. This meant Estelle had to keep Cosmo indoors and only take him out when she was certain no one was around. I suggested the new Mr. Bellwether might be more tolerant of animals, but my mother said it was best not to assume anything. To reach our unit, you had to go through the main hallway and up a staircase adjacent to Mr. Bellwether's door. The day after he moved in, he came out as my mother and I returned with groceries. He repeatedly asked my mother if she was married. Then he pointed at me and asked, "What's his issue?" "He doesn't have an issue," my mother retorted, her face flushed. She pulled me upstairs. I suggested Mr. Bellwether was just being friendly since friendly people ask questions, but she said he wasn't interested in friendship. I asked why he thought I had an issue. She took my hands and said, "There's nothing wrong with you, Daniel." She explained that because I'd been ill for much of my childhood, I hadn't had as many opportunities to socialize, which meant I was still developing certain social skills. Mr. Bellwether began intercepting my mother frequently at the stairs. She suspected he was listening for her. She started moving quietly. This worked for a time, but then he began knocking on our door, asking about things like water pressure or internet connectivity. One afternoon, I heard a commotion and went to investigate. Our door opened into the living area. Mr. Bellwether stood there saying, "You're watching him again? What's wrong with that boy?" "Daniel is unwell." "What? Can he be left alone for one night?" "I'm sorry. So he's old enough to have facial hair but can't take care of himself?" After my mother closed the door, we made eye contact. She asked how much I'd heard. I told her everything. I could tell she was upset, so I hugged her. I said if Mr. Bellwether made her cry again, I'd confront him, which made her smile. Then I said I'd do something more drastic, and she told me I'd gone too far. A few days later, I was startled awake by loud knocking. Because of my headaches, it was difficult to understand what was happening, but Mr. Bellwether kept shouting about a dog. In the morning, my mother wouldn't discuss the argument, but Estelle brought over a bottle of sparkling juice. My mother told me to stay in my room, but I listened from the hallway. Mr. Bellwether was complaining about a noisy animal in our unit. He said he heard scratching above him, which would be our ceiling. Estelle realized he meant Cosmo and was terrified. "Cosmo is all I have," she said tearfully. My mother comforted her. Mr. Bellwether's behavior escalated. My mother said she often smelled alcohol on his breath. One night I woke to my mother screaming, "Do you see any pet supplies in here?" My head was throbbing from the loud voices. I closed my eyes and counted silently until the pain subsided. In the morning, Estelle brought us pastries. "I don't understand how we can still hear Cosmo," she said. "I've insulated the walls." She offered to help with our rent, but my mother declined. She said Mr. Bellwether was looking for excuses to be angry because she wouldn't interact with him socially. Later, she explained we needed to be careful because he would use any excuse to evict us. In April, Mr. Bellwether started pounding on the door one night. I went to the living room where my mother was looking through the peephole. She told me to go back to bed, but I stayed. I had my phone. I mouthed police, but she shook her head, looking pained. I heard a key in the lock. Mr. Bellwether entered. He spoke incoherently. He grabbed my mother's arm, and a surge of protectiveness, a white-hot anger, coursed through me. I couldn't stand the helplessness anymore. I had to do something. He looked at me and laughed. He leaned close and said, "What, are you going to protect her?" His breath was unpleasant. I remember lunging forward, hitting his legs. It was a clumsy, desperate move, but it threw him off balance. Mr. Bellwether grabbed my hair and pulled out a small tool, but before he could use it, my mother struck him with a heavy object. He retaliated, pushing her against the wall. I scrambled back, my head pounding, but my focus remained on my mother. My mother's face flushed, and I feared for her safety. Then a massive shape lunged into the frame. It was a dog, a Doberman perhaps, or some similar breed, its black fur gleaming in the dim light cast by the hallway. Its jaws clamped on Mr. Bellwether's shoulder dripped with blood. It turned then, its intelligent amber eyes fixed on my mother, and gently nudged her hand with its head. Shortly after, Estelle appeared. She looked startled, then my mother gestured her forward. Estelle cautiously petted the dog. Afterward, my mother covered her face, sobbing. Estelle picked up a piece of broken furniture and used it to direct the dog out of the frame. Estelle returned with cleaning supplies. I fast-forwarded the footage. They cleaned the area until I appeared, asking what had happened. Now I'm still in bed, deeply unsettled. I haven't seen Mr. Bellwether since that night. The police haven't come. Everything is eerily quiet. But I can't shake the image of that dog, its intelligent eyes, its powerful jaws. I have to know. I have to understand what my mother is hiding. Tonight I'm going to talk to Estelle. And there we conclude our unsettling journey into The Watcher Across the Hall, a story that delves into the complex dynamics of family, the burden of secrets, and the terrifying consequences of unchecked obsession. What happens when the people we trust most are the ones who withhold the truth? How do we reconcile with the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If this tale has left you with a lingering sense of unease, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and activate the notification bell to join us on future journeys into the darkness. This is the Midnight Narrator, signing off. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most terrifying watchers are not the ones outside our windows, but the ones we invite into our lives.